there's some massive roadblocks. There's so many different times in the history of this company where we could have and maybe should have stopped.
Yeah.
You know, there was a moment where I was laying in the ICU in a hospital room because of this job.
Yeah.
That like I could have stopped.
Right.
But didn't.
Yeah. And that goes back to being creative in business, because you're going to hit those. Don't look at them as failures or roadblocks. It's like, these are opportunities to get creative and figure it out or adjust.
Totally.
So you adjusted your life so you weren't making yourself sick, I'm sure.
Well, that one wasn't sick. That
got
was
hurt?
Taking a golf ball to the face.
Oh, you got to tell us this story. Usually we're like starting as we start the chat, but I want to start it officially right now.
Okay.
Dane Carlson, welcome to A Filmmaker's Journey.
Thank you.
Dane Carlson with Wedge Golf Company.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you like to be known as?
It's kind of just become, it's like the one thing I've done.
Yeah.
So it's kind of become that way, or that's kind of synonymous with it. I think for a while we were going to do Dane from Wedge on the Instagram and different stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much the claim to fame at this point is the business.
It's funny because that's how a lot of the companies I would work at, like Tyson Media, what's up? And they wouldn't even know my full name. So that's why I ask.
Your last name's not Media?
No, actually, it's not.
Dang it.
Wouldn't that be great if like I was born with that name and I just happened to do media?
Of course. You'd end up a lawyer.
Yeah.
If your last name was
right?
Media, you'd end up a lawyer.
Why didn't you go down the media route, bud? Well, dude, thanks for coming in and making the time. And you're a local in the studio.
Yes.
We met through your rentals, and you've shot here a few times for some golf companies.
Big fan of the Tyson Media Studio.
Sweet.
We've been here a lot of times. I mean, at this point, I should let everyone know you are paying me to say that.
Yes.
We are here to publicize the studio.
Every time he says something about the studio, we have his credit card, and
I get a free hour booking. It's a whole deal. No, we've loved renting the studio out. You guys have been awesome to have us. We've shot a lot of our biggest clients here in the studio. And so, it's great. I mean, here in Utah, the media space, it's weird because there's so many of us, but it's still such a small world. And so we get the chance to, meet guys like yourself and a lot of the guys in the industry out here. It's a blast.
Can you pull up some of his work he's shot in here? We just want to show that off. But you were like one of our first rentals.
No kidding.
We had a handful of people that came in. And like this was shot here.
That was shot out in the studio back there. This was when we were still trying to figure out the
green.
The green. Light. If you go to this blue one, we actually got to the point where we built these 15-foot wooden walls.
This is already up?
That we transport
just shot this last week or 2 weeks ago?
Actually,
we did.
One? We just recently shot those and stuff. So
very cool. Nice.
But we've been shooting out here. We absolutely love the studios. This is Vessel Golf, one of our really solid clients. We do a lot of work with these guys, and they've been, when they asked for the studio look and feel, it was having a place like this nearby has been awesome for us.
Heck yeah. Pull up his Instagram too, because that's the next question I want to get into is, who is Dane Carlson? What are you doing right now? And let's just introduce you with a little view at the Instagram account, because I think that's a good thing to look at.
Totally.
Is this business, and this is primarily what you're focused on, I imagine. So let's go ahead and start off with an introduction, what you do inside of what you do.
Yes.
And then talk about Wedge Golf.
Yes. So Wedge Golf, we started Wedge Golf probably 5-ish years ago. And so Wedge Golf was essentially a kind of the way that it came to be was graduated college in the middle of COVID, which is a very poor time to graduate.
No jobs.
Job outlook wasn't great, wasn't really what we were looking for. And so I ended up getting a job at an agency up in Farmington that focuses on like Medicare and insurance. And while it was a great place to work, awesome company, the marketing is just not interesting or exciting. The clientele doesn't really lend itself to that. I remember I wrote this campaign that I was so proud of. I thought it was the funniest thing. Our client at the time was Aetna Medicare. And I wrote this campaign called the Aetna Hand Grenade, because their plans were so simple it would blow your mind.
Oh, beautiful.
And I thought this was so funny and clever, and I wrote all this stuff.
So
I handed it to them, and they were like, "Yeah, what if we just go with get Medicare today?"
We're way more conservative.
And
don't stop stretching, trying so hard.
Exactly. And so, but I had a mentor at that agency that I owe a lot of credit to. who I was an intern there in college, and then when they hired me on full time, he pulled me into his office and he said, "Hey, we're excited to have you.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here. I'm firing you in 5 years."
Oh.
And he basically said that this is a great place to work, but it's too safe. And like, if you stay here too long, you'll die here.
Yeah.
And that was a really good kind of thing where he just kind of looked at me and said, "Find out where you should be."
Yeah.
And so I had this little safety net, I was able to do my work, but in the meantime kind of went out trying to find what it was that I was passionate about, what I loved. And that's when I was reading Phil Knight's Shoe Dog.
Yeah, dude. What a good book.
Fantastic book.
One of the best.
It's my favorite gift to give somebody is that book. But when we did that, he talks about, how he wishes running was his everyday.
Yeah.
Because he loved running. And so I kind of started asking myself, what do I wish my everyday was? It wasn't Medicare, but it was golf. I grew up playing golf. I loved golf. Not good enough at it to make a career playing the sport, so had to find a new way to do it. And that's kind of when I ended up calling up a couple of my buddies who you saw in that video there, a couple of my friends from college, 2 brothers. Well, originally it was a couple of guys from college and some brothers. We built this company called Wedge. Had this idea to do a marketing agency, but to niche down in the world of golf. And kind of the power of a niche agency. And I actually learned the niche idea from that agency in Farmington. That was
Got it.
Insurance
I was going to say,
heavy.
that's very rare to like dial it in so soon.
We hone in day one. We said, this is all we're going to do. And then kind of things went off from there. And we were able to kind of go into photo, video, all this different stuff. And had a lot of partners kind of trust us from there.
So where do you live in this, and what do you do? Because when you're in here, you're directing, you're shooting, you're kind of doing a lot. But what do you do?
Yeah, I'm randomly putting my ugly mug on the different videos we post.
But the stash, man.
The stash. Got to keep the stash.
I'm working on it.
Hey, if I could do the full setup, I would.
My wife goes, "Have you ever had a mustache?" And I was like, "I've never been brave enough to shave this, but I've done this longer." So she's like, "You should try it." So I'm letting this go long, and then I might go to a 1.
We're going to do a part 2 of this, and we're both coming stash.
Okay. I mean, it's almost Movember. So.
Got to do it. So my role in the company, served as a co-founder for years, and then kind of currently serving as like the CEO role. We're small enough that those titles don't mean much. It's pretty much all hands on deck doing everything, but I primarily live on the photo end. Okay. From the content creation as far as hands-on. But then when we're doing video work, I do write a lot of the scripts or direct a lot of the videos. And, been involved in different agencies and different kind of levels. And so been able to pick up some of those different skills where, we kind of have the next man up mentality of, cool. Hey, we need a script written. Anybody in here, give it your best go. Let's see what we can do.
Let's get some ideas spin and vote on the best one. What's like the inner workings look like for Wedge right now?
Yeah.
You're the face.
Clearly. I mean, only for lack of a better, lack of a louder voice in the room. Okay. I'm just the loudest one who likes to put a camera in front of my guests.
So just tell me about like who works there. What's the business structure look like?
So we were actually acquired earlier this year. Yeah.
Congratulations. Was it a good acquisition?
It was. Yeah. It was good for us. It was an opportunity for us to kind of, take another step and see some new opportunities.
Cool.
And so we're at the point now where we're kind of going through, the growing pains of new team members and all these things. All good things, good problems to have for sure. But so we've got some new business partners there for the group called Wedge Ventures. And then we've also got a lot of, we have our creative teams, our account management teams, our sales teams, kind of different things like that. So right now we're about 8 to 10 people. Mm-hmm. But really where we found our success is, there's a lot of talented videographers, photographers, creatives out there who find passion in golf. Yeah. And because of that, when we have projects that we have to travel for or do whatever, we got a pretty good network of freelancers that we kind of lean on when we need them. And so that helps us a ton.
Way cool. I am going to go straight into the nitty gritty. How the heck did you get acquired by an investment firm?
It was a very unique situation, to be honest.
Because I was thinking maybe one of your clients bought you, which I've had offers. We just want your whole team. I've had that happen twice and it never went through. But when you said an investment firm, I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, it actually came in a way that was pretty unique. So Wedge has been in a really unique spot where we've been profitable since day one.
Cool.
Which is I think, rare and something that we were pretty,
especially once you get a team.
Totally. Yeah. And it's something we're very proud of. And, we'd gone through some, different times and seasons where we were more profitable than others, you know, and, I love saying that we were profitable since month one, but some months that meant $100. Like it was barely profitable at all.
I remember the first 6 months of my business, I was talking to my little brother and he's like, how's business? And I was like, dude, we've been profitable every month. And then it started to change. It's like some months weren't. And I was like, dude, I'm killing it. And then obviously things start to happen as expenses go up.
100%. And cool. And where it kind of got to the point was while we were profitable, while we were having success, it maybe was not so profitable that, any one of myself or my business partners probably could have left and taken a better salary at another company or another opportunity. And some other opportunities were coming up for some of us that it just kind of got to a point where we had to decide, like, what do we think the future of this is?
Right.
And is it something that we keep pushing heavily on, or is it something that we, maybe pivot into a different opportunity? And we were having conversations at the time with ourselves and one of our business advisors about kind of, hey, this is how we're feeling. There's just as much as there's an importance of keeping the creative side happy, there's the financial side that we need to think about as well. And that advisor actually came to us and said, hey, what if I actually knew somebody that would want to buy a group like yours?
Cool.
And it just happened to be like he happened to have had a conversation with a guy who knew he was involved with us and said, hey, if those guys are ever looking, let us know. We're looking for groups like that.
So why would he want to buy a golf media company? Does he have clients to serve, or is this just like, I just think that this is gonna be a payback one day? Okay.
It's honestly a lot of the people who get into golf in one way or shape or form, it's success in another thing gives them the opportunity to chase a passion, and that passion's golf. And so because of that, he said, hey, I love what they're doing. I love I'm interested in it. And we were able to then kind of from there say, okay, let's make that, relationship. We talked about it, and partners, we all just agreed that might be something that we were interested in. And, we're kind of at where we are now, and
cool,
kind of a new kind of rendition of what Wedge is and trying to figure out what that kind of looks like on the next step. But
dude, what a freaking testament. I think your whole theme is going to be this power of niche.
Yep.
Those guys don't buy you if you're doing some golf videos and you're called Dane Media.
Right.
And but because you're literally a golf media company, there's this dude, that doesn't happen with that client or that investment firm unless you're niched.
It's
into something he likes.
100%.
It's crazy.
Well, and even something there's an opportunity in, and that's where we got really lucky.
Yeah.
There's one of my other favorite podcasts that I listen to is How I Built
One of
This.
your other? So is this one?
This is number one.
Yes.
Number one.
Let's clarify.
The number two is a podcast called How I Built This, where they talk about failures.
Yeah,
and
I've heard of it.
One of the questions he always asks is, how much of your success do you attribute to hard work and the energy you put into it, and how much do you attribute to luck? And I mean, I can tell you firsthand, we put blood, sweat, and tears and the whole 9 yards into the business.
Right.
But we got stupid lucky every step of the way.
Cool.
And we were just lucky enough to, we were smart enough to put ourselves in the position to capitalize on the luck.
Yeah.
And, the first step where that happened was when we decided to start this in COVID. We didn't start it because COVID took off golf. And golf was really good in COVID. We started because we loved golf.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
And now it's this
and
one-man game.
Took off.
Yeah.
Every golf company's revenue took off. The interest in golf took off. And
Yeah.
it was like, we didn't plan that.
Right.
I'm not some business guru looking at that. We got super lucky.
Yeah.
Our first client was a really big name in the golf industry, Bad Birdie. And we got Bad Birdie as a client because my two business partners happened to be at the Waste Management Golf Tournament wearing a Wedge t-shirt. Some guy walking by them said, hey, that's a cool logo. What does Wedge do? And they said, we're a marketing company in golf. And he said, cool. I'm the CMO of Bad Birdie.
We need you.
And they did not need us until 2 weeks later, their videographer quit.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, again, we were putting good work out there. We were trying our absolute best, but that's lucky.
Yeah.
That's super lucky.
Yeah.
And so, that was kind of the case with niching down and being able to capitalize on it and finding that luck. But yeah, the niche thing has been from day one a massive benefit to us because our outreach strategy early on in Wedge was Instagram DMs.
Yeah.
Hopping on Instagram and just DMing anybody we could find. I've since kind of told people that and talked to them, and they've come back to me and they've been like, man, I'm trying that. I'm trying to see what I can do with that. But like, how do you know to reach out to?
Yeah.
And like, it didn't click in my brain that like, oh, not everybody has this built-in pool of clientele to search for, who to go after,
it's
all
just
that
random
kind of stuff.
It's like all these, it's like, and yeah, I mean, you keep going. Like, if it's making me think about, like, if someone came to my page, like, cool, he does media, and so do 100,000 other businesses. But then it's like with yours, it's like they do golf videos, and there's a huge need for that.
Right.
And I think they go to you because they see you as an expert in the space versus coming to my company because I've never done a golf video, but I could still kick ass with that golf video. But they would come to you because you're the expert, because you're niche.
You could potentially shoot it better. You know, we've shot stuff with groups locally, you know, other agencies and things who like, we pull them in on bigger projects because we need certain expertise and, you know, a certain style of videography, whatever it might be.
That's what we'll do. Next time you need a crew, let us know. We'll shoot it for you. Your expertise will do the directing, and then we'll just make it look pretty.
Well, that's what's interesting though. You mentioned the word expertise. That's the beauty of being in a niche.
Yeah.
We were 3 kids out of the BYU Ad Lab.
Another one, dude. There's a lot of kids coming out of that.
We
program.
love the BYU Ad Lab. Great program. Did a lot for us. Like, you know, they gave us as much of a, you know, a jump start as they possibly could. But at the same time, we're 24, 25 years old, coming out of college.
Yeah.
Have, you know, little to no industry experience. But because we started a company and said, oh, all we do is golf.
Yeah.
We don't do anything else. We're just golf.
Yeah.
There were people that had no business inviting us into the room, and then trusting us as if we belonged there.
Yeah.
Just because we said we were supposed to. We said we're the golf agency.
Yeah.
And so when we got to the point where a brand like Mizuno, you know, a multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar company across the world, that's a big player in the golf space, needed more content, and they saw this company that was a golf-only marketing agency. They trusted us when, at that point, there was a lot of things they were asking us to do that we'd never done before.
Yeah.
Things that we'd never seen before. But we just needed to kind of get to the point where we could say we could do it. And then you have a shoot like this where they trusted us with every one of their PGA athletes on site.
Yeah.
And said, you guys are shooting our big PGA launch campaign for next year. We had 4 days in Georgia with every one of their athletes.
Dude, and what a freaking pleasure for you.
Oh, I mean,
you're like, not only do you do this, but you love it.
It beats a cubicle, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. But you love the sport.
We love the sport.
Just shooting something that sucks.
There's definitely a little bit here, you know, with like, you do need to have an expertise level. Like, you know, I'm not saying it's all smoke and mirrors.
Think about the, what's the word? The etiquette.
Totally.
Being able to communicate with those guys.
Knowing what a good grip looks like. Knowing what a good swing looks like. Yeah. When you're on the tee box, where does the bag go? Like, there is a lot of this little expertise.
I didn't even consider that.
That stuff goes into.
Yeah. Like, we need to do that again because this, and if I'm shooting it, I'm like, dude, I don't golf. I'd like to get good at it, and actually I can swing a top golf club pretty good, but that's cool. So yeah, the expertise of just like knowing the etiquette and how to speak to these guys and the way to set up a shot that will make them look the best. It's
one of the similar industries or similar groups that, you know, people can talk to is skating.
Totally.
Skaters speak a language.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you know, this, if you mention, hey, this trick, if you do this, or if you hand somebody a board, a skater will know within 2 seconds if that guy's ever skated before.
Yeah.
It's a little less obvious, but golf's the same way. If you showed up on a round tomorrow and you put a bag down, I could probably look at someone's bag and tell you how long the guy's been playing.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just knowing that language. And, you know, it's just being in the industry for so long and, you know, doing all that different stuff. But then, you know, when you get in front of guys like these who are the experts in the space. You know, this guy on the left right here, he was on the Ryder Cup team this year and was, you know, playing in massive events. You kind of want to know what you're talking about and what you're able to do. So
so cool, dude. I had no idea that this is where we'd go so quick. I think it's so cool though, and I think anyone listening to this, I've tried to niche down, and a lot of the niches that I come into are just things that happen. So we get like a client that, wants to pay us to do content, and then we get really good at managing that client.
Right.
We've niched into this kind of this system that we're building, and it's just happened where you started and you made a choice.
Right.
And so I think, and I remember I've read it in so many gurus books, and I mean, everyone talks about the powers in the niche. You just don't know, like, it's fun to hear someone actually speak to it and not just tell you to do it, and like see kind of the reason for it. Because if you're just a jack of all trades, it's like, well, what do you do? And you just have to start figuring that out and find your own voice. Some people find it, some people just decide.
And the niche really comes down to like, where can you provide value?
Totally.
Because where we saw the opportunity with the niching in golf was, understanding how to speak the golfer's language and speak to that type of person, But I had a friend of mine come to me recently who he was trying to start an agency. He actually used to work for us.
Cool.
Moved to LA, was trying to start his own agency out in LA, and he kind of called me and said, "Hey, I'm trying to consider how far do I niche down." He'd come from our agency, which is like as micro niched as you can probably get.
Yeah.
So he's kind of asking like, how far should I go? How far should I stay out of this? And one of the kind of interesting thing that we talked about is that your niche isn't necessarily an industry. Mm-hmm. You can niche in a lot of different ways. Totally. You can niche in your specialty. You can niche in your expertise. You can niche in your processes.
Your style.
Whatever, your style.
I think Film Lab's a good example of
great
style.
Example. It's a style, and they do a lot of bigger, larger corporate type stuff and things like that. But like, that's a niche.
Yeah,
and they can hit a lot more people. And to be honest, it might be a more lucrative niche than even what I've chosen. But it does. The main thing with choosing a niche is not just choosing, a lot of people niche into weddings or different things like that, which I think is a great niche as well. But it's not just picking a popular niche or where you think there's an opportunity. It's more of, hey, where can I provide unique value that nobody else could? And if you're able to find that answer, there's a famous, one of the 3 books I've read in my life. Shoe Dog, the Bible, and then this book called...
You read the Bible? That's like a ton of books.
There you go. I should count that as
way more than one.
And then a book called the $100 Startup.
I have not read that one.
It's a great book, great opportunity, where it's basically the idea of the book is, when everyone thinks about starting a business, they look after what is, an Amazon or a Google or an Apple, how do I start the next unicorn, whatever it's going to be. What he kind of talks about is like, hey, for as little as $100, you can start a business that will at least provide for you and your family and give you financial, freedom to an extent. Yeah. But the way he talks about it in that book is that Venn diagram between what people want and the value you can provide, and you can uniquely provide, because otherwise you start fighting with other people for that space. But, we found out that being able to speak to golf and to talk in that industry was a unique piece of value that we could bring to people, and then there's, other companies like I mentioned, like a Film Lab or a lot of these wedding videographers or people who say, okay, I have a unique angle on this space and to this group that maybe other people couldn't provide. Yeah. You've seen a lot of guys do it in fitness. A lot of guys do it in product photography and, studio photography, whatever it might be. And that's just the solution, is just finding what that can be. Yeah. And then keep iterating it until you really nail it.
Yeah. There's 2 things that I don't want to forget, but I want to touch on.
Yes.
There's, you talked a lot about luck.
Yes.
And then you talked about, the niche. Oh goodness, I knew I was going to do that. Let's talk about the luck and see if that comes back to me. Yes, luck is real, and I'm sure you've heard this if you ever talked about luck, but I believe that you're putting yourself in the right position and you're noticing these opportunities that seem like luck that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise if you weren't pursuing something that totally. And it's the whole law of attraction thing, right? And that's as cool as and phony as that is. There's a part of our brain, right, the reticular activating system, that just starts to notice things that you're focused on. So you're focused on golf, you're focused on this agency, and your brain's just like looking for those things. And so yes, the CMO did notice you guys and your thing, but if he's not wearing that shirt because he's not focused on Wedge, right, they don't notice you. So as much luck has it, you still have to put yourself in the position to think a lot about what you want, and then the things start to just show up. I've seen it 100 times in my life. It's like it's getting to a point, and I'm sure you're there too, where it's like, of course that happened.
Right.
Of course this is happening because I've been thinking about it and I've kind of been attracting it. And so, yes, you're lucky, but you're also in the right mindset and thinking hard about it. And I only bring that up just for people that are like, man, how do I get lucky? It's like, dude, you got to create your luck by focusing on what you want.
And I think you're dead on with that because, you know, like, let's use that example. You know, my business partners being at that event, they were only really at that event because they wanted to get out into the golf industry, see things like that. I know they're with, you know, with family or whatever, but they're able to go out and to do that. But at the same time, we only had those T-shirts that were seen to be worn because we'd gone and done a trade deal with a company to be able to get like 1,000 shirts made for some content that we created to put them. And so, you like, when people talk about luck, you know, it oftentimes comes off as like, I was just
sitting back, and
then all of a sudden some guy was like, you want money? And I was like, sure.
I'll take that money. But here's the other thing is, let's say that does happen. Some random dude's like, I'm going to pay you to make a video about golf. And you haven't prepared yourself for that opportunity. You didn't even have to notice it. He came to you and said, here, take this. And you're like, cool, you're not ready.
No.
You're going to flop. You're going to fail. So it's all about preparing yourself every day for what's to come, because you just don't know what. But then while you're preparing, you're focused on the right things and they start to happen. And it's the way the world works, man. This isn't anything new. But anyway, so I wanted to squash your luck theory. But really, though, it's I think it's a huge combination of luck, but also creating your luck. And I can't remember the other thing I was going to ask you. But we've been harping on what you're doing right now, currently, for a long time. I want to talk about where this all started for you. We got a little taste of it, BYU Ad Lab, but even before that, like, you went to the BYU Ad Lab because I imagine you wanted to get into filmmaking, photography. Like, where did it start for you?
That's an interesting question. So I served an LDS mission in Liberia. Spent 2 years in Africa.
That's cool.
That's
unique.
That's a whole different podcast there about, you know, being in Africa in the middle of Ebola. Wild experience. But you know, one of the things about serving an LDS mission is you spend a lot of time thinking about, you know, what am I going to do when I get back home, all that different stuff. And I really had it in my head, like, I've got to provide for a family. I've got to be a good dad. I got to do it. You know, you have all these goals.
Get married the second I get home.
Exactly.
Sorry,
you have all these.
Not a knock on.
all these goals of who you want to be when you get back. And so I went to BYU originally with the plan of getting a JD MBA.
Really?
You know, a dual degree, doctorate, master's in business, there's a law degree and a master's in business, this whole thing. And then I sat down in one of those classes, and they gave us our first assignment. I went home, and it was like the hardest thing I've ever done to make it through that reading. But again, I was dedicated, so I did it. I was like, I'm going to do this, but like, I struggled to just like find the will to do so. Go to class the next day, and all these kids are like asking questions about the reading. Like, hey, I saw this. What does that look like this? And I just kind of looked around, and I was like, you all belong here. Yeah. I do not.
Yeah. I have no interest.
And I had remembered that some guy who I had been in the same apartment with in Liberia had said when he went back, he was going to do marketing.
Cool.
And so I was like, I'll just go to the business school and I'll do the marketing. So I went over to the business school.
Just because you had someone that said, I want to do the marketing. I was like,
I had zero options, so at least that was one. And I was like, sure, let's try the marketing thing at business school. I went over there, took the classes, was getting prepped to get ready for the business school. And then, you know, it started to got a little bit of work in the industry, and I was starting to feel like I actually really liked marketing. Like, this was something I was interested in. And I had a buddy whose dad worked at the business school over at BYU, and I went and had a meeting with him to show him my application. Hey, where can I beef this up? And he kind of looked it over, and he went, you're going to get auto denied. Your grades are too poor.
They're going to look at it.
They're like, there's just kind of a cut that we don't even, like, nobody will even review this.
Dang.
And I was devastated. I was like, I had one plan. I started liking it, and then it was gone. And so what ended up happening was I was just like lost. I was like, do I have to go take all these classes again to go back? I know I want to do this, but just, you know, what do I do? And so I went, and I was actually working at this BYU TV sports section where I was doing like their football production, all this kind of stuff. And I was sitting with a kid who was in the advertising program because they are different at the university. And I was talking to him and I was telling him this whole story, my whole sob story. Hey, I just found out I'm not going to make the marketing program. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. What should I do? And he just stopped. He said, why do you want to do it? Like, why do you want to do marketing?
Yeah.
And I told him all these reasons. I like this part of it. I like this part of it. I like this part of it. I want to be creative. I want to do all that. And then he just went, you don't want to do marketing.
Yeah.
You want to do advertising. And he kind of ran me through what the difference was. One's more the creative side. One was more the digital marketing, ads, strategy. He said, have you ever
Very different worlds.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about the advertising program? And he pointed me in the right direction to where I took those classes, and I actually had like a light bulb where I was like, this is what I thought I was getting.
Yeah.
Over there, I think I'm in the right spot. And so got into the BYU Ad Lab, started doing a lot of the work there, doing different things. And then while I was there, began looking for opportunities. And I think this goes back to what you were just saying of you got to be looking for stuff, be looking for what's possible. And while I was there, a buddy of mine from high school said, hey, does anybody here know how to write? Like, anybody want to write some scripts for our company we're starting?
Yeah.
And he was starting a company called Avenue Film Co.
Nice. You did tell me this.
Yeah, which is a marketing agency, video production agency, and I wrote some scripts for him, and then kind of rolled into, hey, we need this more often.
But like with this, I feel like you're skimming over things that I want to understand.
Please, go ahead.
How the heck do you know how to write a script? And how did you? First of all, you said, I heard a guy say I want to be in marketing, and then you had this process of applying. But then you found out you liked some things. Mm-hmm. Where did those things come from? Were you having experiences along the way that like you started to try marketing? Yeah. And then the Ad Lab came up and you're like, had you dabbled in photography, videos yet? Like,
not really, no. I mean, I'd done some videos in
your iPhone.
Well, I should probably be more, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I should probably be more honest. Like, so in high school, I had taken the film class at the high school.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of sparked interest.
Loved the film class.
Yeah.
I actually took it twice because it was the easiest class at the high school, and I could just get it done.
And it was kind of a fun class that everyone took.
Totally.
Not everyone. I don't know. When were you in high school?
I graduated 2015.
Yeah, so I was in 2008, and that was not a career path. Like, film school is the fun thing you did.
Yeah.
YouTube was not even a paid path yet.
Totally.
So I'm sure it was just starting to, you guys at 2015, it's like, there's an opportunity here, but still it didn't, it was like, unless you're going to Hollywood, what do you do?
In high school, that was not a option for a career.
Yeah. And especially if you weren't looking for it and you weren't seeing what other people in that industry were doing.
You went into filmmaking if you wanted to teach other people about, you want to be a high school teacher and teach that. Like, that was like kind of like, in my brain at least, maybe I was probably ignorant too of that. That's what I thought. I was like, this isn't like unless you either make movies or you're a high school teacher. Like, there's just not, there's like, there's no real opportunity.
Yeah.
And so I had done that, I'd taken like graphic design classes, and like, I loved them. I thought they were really fun. But again, I did not think it was a career path that in any way, shape, or form resulted in a paycheck at the end of the day, or at least not one that was, was sustainable. And so when I did kind of start into the marketing realm, there was a lot of nights where I started getting back into, making designs on my laptop or getting into Photoshop again. Cool. And, getting more, I think it started more for me on the graphic design side, and I was doing a lot of the graphic design type stuff. I had liked writing a lot when I was a kid. My English classes were my favorite. And so when I did head over to the Ad Lab, to kind of answer your other question, and I was doing a lot of these things, they kind of ask you to pick a route.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a copywriter? Do you want to be a graphic designer? Do you want to be a video content creator?
Cool.
And when I had been doing that job at BYU TV, doing a lot of their work, the part that I enjoyed the most was coming up with the ideas.
Cool.
Hey, here's what we're going to talk about today. Here's what the video is going to be. And I was never really interested in getting behind the camera and, filming, being a DP, any of that kind of stuff. That really didn't like draw my attention as much as like the directing or writing the story kind of side did. So when I went over to the Ad Lab, I was originally studying copywriting.
Okay.
And taking a lot of the copywriting classes and learning how to write. So that's kind of when the script opportunity came up.
That fills all the gaps. That
I was able to say, hey, I in back in the creative world, I'm loving this script writing. I'm loving this opportunity. And that's where I kind of started to then start writing the scripts But then, when I did join and start working with the Avenue team, it was like it's a similar thing where we are at Wedge, where it's like, if you are here, you're going to know how to set up a light.
Yeah.
You know how to hit record on the camera.
Yeah.
You might not be the DP, but it's all hands on deck. And so that's where it kind of, from there, branched out.
Got it. So while you're at the Ad Lab, was it Jackson?
No.
Was it Mitchell?
Neither of them were at the Ad Lab at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's someone that worked there. They needed a script. You wrote it.
Oh, so that was Jackson that happened. He was over Instagram. He sent an Instagram story out that just said, I need a script written.
Oh, cool.
And then Jackson sent that, and I was like, hey, I'm studying this right now. Like, I'm in school for it. I could give it a go.
Yeah.
Was in my parents' basement, wrote a couple scripts. They liked them
Cool.
well enough to ask me to write another one. And then slowly I kind of
And that
became their copywriter on
it.
staff.
So that was that next step for you in your journey. And that was, were you still in school when you got a job with Avenue, or it was a part-time thing?
So it was a part-time, as full-time as I could make it in college, I believe. But it was, it was a lot of fun. We had a open warehouse situation kind of like this with 4 or 5 desks in it.
I remember.
And
that's when I first met Mitch, and we were both, I was at Nomadic and I was doing my side gigs, and I can't even remember how we got in touch, but we did a phone call just to like chat about video, and caught up, and we threw them some bags and they did some stuff in their warehouse. I was like, oh, what a cool space. Cause it was like a shelf was blocking you off from like, the actual industrial
that was all
building.
that we had done. Yeah, there was a e-com brand that had bought the whole warehouse and didn't need the corner space that we basically put up some gear shelves.
That's cool.
And that was our office at the time, and it was good because when I started working with those guys, it was good because it was real world experience for me. It was real world experience to kind of start figuring out what it was that I was good at. Yeah. Because I knew how to work Photoshop. I randomly had gained a lot of technical skills by just like hopping on YouTube, trying to figure something out. And now I can work Photoshop. Yeah. I can work Premiere. I can work this. But it's like, what am I both, any better at than the next guy, while also being interested in it? And writing and directing and that kind of, concepting phase of things was really what caught my attention. Is like, this is exciting. This is fun. And if this was my everyday and I was working on this kind of stuff every day, I'd be happy.
Way cool. And while you're at Film Lab, did you write anything that you may have sent us or that we could pull up? Like anything that you were proud of from those days?
The answer is yes, but you're asking me to go into the recesses of my mind that I haven't thought about those projects. I think the biggest campaign that we did was for a company called, it was Independence University, which I think actually got shut down because it was a scam. But if you can find it, I wonder where it would be. If you go to YouTube and just look up Independence University, they didn't make very many videos. So it's probably
that business got shut down.
If I'm remembering right, I don't think the university exists anymore. Okay. But it was, I'll bring it up for this reason, is it was my first time where it was like, it was probably one of the bigger clients up to that point that we had. And it was pretty much turning it over to me to say like, hey, this is a big campaign. What should we do? And I really give a lot of credit to Mitch and Jackson for trusting me that much that early on in my career. And so I got to write kind of A to Z, these scripts, locations, all these ideas, and kind of put it out there. And while it's probably not the most, groundbreaking, award-winning campaign or anything like that, it was something that I was, really proud of at the time. Yeah. And to have partners like those guys that could make my vision come to life at the level they could, I definitely showed that thing off.
So did you end up directing it?
I think Mitch did mostly. I gave my input where I could.
Ideas. Cool.
But it was a blast to create that one.
Idea guys, man, they're hard to come by, especially when they're good ideas that can convert into sales. Yeah. That's like the two things you have to tie together. It's really not as hard to, I shouldn't say that because a lot of people do it. I would say there's different strategy around just creating a cool video. And then there's a strategy around creating a cool video that also sells a product, which in turn gets you more business. Because if you're not making money, what's the point?
I got another one for you if you can find this. It'll be easier one to find. It's like hat. Okay.
Crazy.
Go to YouTube and do Steely. It's steel with an E on the end. It's a hat company. We did a video with Tanner Mangum back when he was BYU's quarterback.
Cool.
And that was another one that, like, sticking on the sports theme, kind of where I've landed a lot of times. That was a good one another one I was proud of from that time. Man, I haven't thought about the Avenue videos in a minute. So this is kind of
when you told me that you had worked there, that was like, whoa, I remember those days, because that was when I first met Mitch, and he talked a lot about those days with Jackson and the transition out of it to now Film Lab.
Totally.
But that's super cool. So you ended up working there. You're at Film Lab part-time. What happened next?
So Film Lab was acquired.
Yep. By Route. And were you you were there at that time?
I was there at that time, but before I even go into kind of that period, there was another really big moment for me in my kind of, we're talking about the filmmaker's journey.
Yeah.
In my journey, so the way that the program is set up at the Ad Lab was you have the creative group and you have the account management group. It's kind of the way they split it up, where these are the ones that work on the creative parts of the campaign. These are guys that manage the campaigns, and the clients they bring into that little program. You have to apply for that creative thing. You have to apply for the advertising program, and then a second application to be in the creative thing. You put a portfolio together. And while working at Ad Lab, I remember I was sitting at my desk at Ad Lab. I got rejected to be a creative in the Ad Lab. And, as arrogant as I was, I didn't even think that was an option. Yeah. I was like, I just figured, like, I have this work experience. I've done this. Like, I've got real campaigns out there. Like, companies are putting 6-figure media spends behind my work. Like, I know I'm good at this.
You're getting in.
And I got rejected.
Yeah.
And it was another moment for me where, I got put into this account side that I knew was not me. Didn't fit my personality or what I was good at. And I could not find the joy that I needed in it. So when that happened, it was another fork in the road moment of, like, are you going to accept that you didn't get into this? So now they're telling you you're this and you're going to be that, or are you going to go out and make your own path? And luckily at that time I had Avenue. I had this opportunity where I was like, all right, well, you're telling me I'm not a copywriter. I'm currently have a resume that says I am. Yeah. And so I'm going to go be a copywriter. Yeah. And so I tried to go make my own path on that one, and kept doing work at Avenue as a copywriter. And then that was when Avenue was acquired. The group that purchased Avenue didn't keep the whole team, kept certain parts, didn't keep certain parts. And I went and got this job at that advertising agency I mentioned earlier, as a copywriting intern. Yeah. And started writing copy on their different campaigns and doing that kind of stuff. But the kind of formidable moment of that job was what I mentioned before with when I got hired on. But even before that, when I was working at BYU TV, I ran a little show they had there called Between the Lines. And my head editor on the show was a guy named Reese Hansen. And the guy had become like my best friend. Like, we spent so much time working together. I wouldn't even say at that point, but we were really close. Yeah. Independently from each other, we both went and got internships at this marketing agency. So we were like working closely at this place, and then not talking to each other, became on the same team at the next place. What? And it was cool. It was really great. And so for that, Reese became like my best friend. We became really, really close. And as that was happening, when I got to the point through that marketing agency where I was there for probably 3 years. When it became time to, hey, I have this idea for Wedge. I have this. My first call was Reese. Cool. Who was a videographer. He also did the Ad Lab, all that kind of stuff. And I just said, hey, I've got this idea. Do you want to try this with me? And we grabbed him and one other guy from the Ad Lab as well, named Tanner. And we all went out and started Wedge.
Have they ever been here? Have I met them?
I don't think so.
Okay, because one's an editor, one's a videographer?
Was kind of more on the account side.
Oh, cool.
Strategy side.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so this all happened because you had a mentor at this agency that said, I'm going to fire you in 5 years. Go figure something out. Yep. Why did you think, go back and go more into detail on, I get you like golf. Right. But why would you want to put all your eggs in that basket? when it comes to creating for golf?
You know, I don't know if I have like a great answer for you. I mean, other than the fact that I played on the high school team. It was such a formidable part of my life. My high school job, I worked at a golf course.
Yeah.
I played on the high school team, golf team, all 4 years. When I grew up, that was my babysitter. And so it was just such a large part of my life that I think it might have just been the default answer at the time.
Yeah, but why didn't you just create an agency and go try to gather golf videos? Why did you decide to niche so fast and so early?
I think that came from the agency that I was working at in Farmington, being able to see that these guys niched into, I guess their niche is technically 55 plus. How do you market to a senior demographic? Mm-hmm. Now those are Medicare, banking, those kinds of clients. They serve those clients because they had that. And so I did see, and I may have, if I'm thinking back hard, I think there may have been a Instagram post or
you need to niche.
Something is talking about niching and all this different stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I connected the dot to this agency I'm at's niche. And oh my gosh, look at the success they've had. Cool. And then looking into what my niche could potentially be. Now, to be fair, when we originally talked about Wedge and what we thought Wedge was going to be, it is very different than what it is now.
Yeah.
We thought the win was going to be golf courses.
Interesting.
And then also there's other parts of marketing in golf where scorecards, for example. Yep. If you go play a round of golf, you have a scorecard, there's little logos on there. And stuff like that, or we can get into this space. Mm-hmm. And the guys who do pencils at golf courses, we saw kind of these different opportunities outside of just the video photo. Yeah. We thought it was more for the courses. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, COVID was the opposite of luck because every course said, we're booked out for months.
Yeah.
And that was when we ended up in the brand perspective. But yeah, I think that's what it was I think it was just kind of a natural, a lot of people screaming in your ear saying, you got a niche, you got a niche, you got a niche. And we kind of felt like, you know what, this might be a niche that makes sense. Let's try it.
That's crazy. And when you're niching into, there was I'm blanking on my dang question. In the next step, so you get into this, okay, that's what it was.
Yes.
You say it wasn't the way it was when you started.
Right.
It's different than anyway, you start one way and it ends up going another way. I think that's so normal for every business to get into, and you start with these ideas. So that makes complete sense why you ended up going the route you did, because you saw opportunities in this area and then started to find success as you're going.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to just get started on something. And I think oh my gosh, it just came to me. The thing I was thinking of a while ago is loving what you're doing. I think it's very easy to get into a niche, maybe because you fell into it and hating the content you're creating for that company.
Totally.
And realizing that's not going to last because you're just burning yourself out.
Right.
And then you've got the niche that you love. And so for you to go down this road for something that you loved, there's longevity in that. And you're not going to get burned out as soon. Mm-hmm. You might get, I don't know, you'll figure that out as you go. But I was going to ask that question. Do you love what you're doing?
Yeah.
When it comes to golf, and have you gotten bored or tired of it as you've been so focused on one
Totally.
thing?
That's actually a piece of advice people gave me early on when we were starting this. They were like, you might hate golf.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah.
If you love this, you may ruin the one hobby you have. But what I think has happened is I've definitely felt moments of burnout, but the burnout that I've felt has been less golf burnout and more, photography or videography, which is natural. You're going to feel that, no matter what your niche is, no matter what you're doing, but when you're in the industry, even if you're in finance, at one point you're going to hate spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And I think we got to the point where we've definitely, there've been times where I do not want to go shoot a photo.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of our clients are similar to each other. Mm-hmm. Being in this industry, I shoot a lot of polo companies.
Yeah.
I shoot a lot of hat companies.
Yeah.
And there's some times where it's I just do not want to go shoot another golf hat company.
Yeah.
But, that's the job. You do it, you go out, you do as good as you can. And, you go through times and seasons. And I think it's just, I don't know, the lessons I've kind of learned personally with burnout is being able to understand when you are either maybe discouraged or you're going through, like you're going through kind of a emotion at the time, you might need a little bit more juice to get going.
Yeah.
Or when you're truly done.
Yeah.
The example I had someone give it one time is your ankle broken or did you sprain it?
Yeah.
If your ankle's, there's almost even another level of, or do you need to amputate? If you need to amputate, that's get out of the industry. Yeah. You're done. You've lost it. Broken means take a break, come back on it when it's ready. Sprained means pay attention to it and get used to it and make sure you're okay. And it's kind of a way to look at it where you're not necessarily, when you feel discouraged, feeling like you need to quit or you need to give up, but it's just, hey, you need more extra pick me up. And so I felt that with the industry side, with the photography side. I think it might be different if I was playing golf.
Yeah.
Because when I get to go out and play, that's the funny thing about this business. I'm on the course almost every day.
Yeah.
I'm hardly ever playing. And that's the difference is, people think my job is just, you play golf all day, which I wish it was. Mm-hmm. But no, it's, it's all on a course taking pictures. And so that's kind of the difference there is where, the burnout may not have gone towards golf, but maybe gone towards just sometimes I don't want to take pictures.
Yeah. And that kind of, it kind of doesn't necessarily speak to the niche because you still love golf. But talk to me about, because it's kind of the dark side of niche, which is like getting burned out of the thing you're filming but still enjoying filming, which is kind of the opposite of where you did, where you are. Talk to me about the progression as you got to that point where you're like, I'm tired of taking these pictures. 'Cause I'm sure at the beginning it was like, this is so cool. I love what I'm doing. And then you start to change and you get kind of tired of that thing. The progress gets you from what you like to what you don't. And then it turns into, okay, what do I do now within my business? Where does that live for you? 'Cause to give an example for me, when I started, I was the guy doing all the things, still kind of am, but the filming, the editing, the directing, and then I started my business and I started to really I got tired of all that and I started to enjoy growing the business. Right. So I still do a lot of things like you do. You take the pictures that I don't enjoy as much as I used to, but there's more I want to do in the business that I really enjoy. And that's kind of the example I'm saying with you, like where's the progress? Where are you headed? What's changing?
I would say I'm closer to where you just mentioned, where it's like I'm at the point now where there's certain projects, certain brands, certain things where like I'm in love with taking those photos, the creative process, all those different things. And there's other projects where I feel like, my time might be better served trying to put some energy in towards the business growing and building up the business and doing what we can on that front. And so I think the realization or the agreement I've had to make with myself is if I want to be able to do those cool projects with the cooler clients, the ones that I love, the cost is doing the ones you don't.
Yeah.
That's the price of admission.
Yep.
And so if you don't want to do the better ones, you better be able to weigh that your disdain for wanting to do those is more than your enjoyment on the other ones.
Yeah.
And if it ever gets to that point, then I got some bigger decisions to make probably. Yeah. But for now, it's like, I'm willing to, go take photos that I feel like I've taken 1,000 times or do photos that I feel like are, maybe not my most creative opportunity in order to give myself the continual opportunity to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool because it's like you have to kind of adjust and change, but do those things that make the business run.
Right.
And I think that's the same thing. One of our last guests, Garrett Batty, he was talking about the same thing. His passion is features, and he's in the religious family type content and loves that stuff and wants to create that constantly. But then it's like you got to put food on the table. And every guest has talked about it. It's like you got to take those paychecks when they come, but then it's like those paychecks pay for the good ones to be able to last to that point. So it is important to do that. But the good thing is I think that if you're honest with yourself, you still probably like doing the pictures.
I love it.
Compared to if you were to be doing something else. So we get a little jaded. We get a little, what's the word when you do something and you forget that you still love it. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Some exactly. Saying like that. But when you check back into reality, you're like, I got a great gig.
Totally.
If I was 10 years back and I looked at what I'm doing now, these things that I'm tired of, these things are awesome. 100%. And then I'm getting paid to take pictures on a golf course. Yeah.
Definitely worse ways to spend an afternoon. Much worse ways to spend an afternoon.
Yeah. So that's, it's putting it into perspective.
100%.
So that's really cool. So that kind of brings us back to where we are now, which is what you're currently doing. Talk to me about the clients that you're serving right now and what that looks like. Do you have retainer clients that are consistent? Are you constantly feeding the funnel with new clients? Tell me about it.
So our business runs off primarily two types of clientele. One is our we call them our custom project or our full day production projects. That's where like a Vestal or someone would fall into, where it's, hey, this client comes in, they have us for a full day on a course shooting. Cool. We do a lot of pre-production work, scripting, all this different stuff, location scouts, whatever it might be. And then we build out what their video is going to be. We usually shoot about 8 to 10 videos in one day, give them a bunch of photos, and it's kind of like it basically is a social media package. Allows them to serve their socials, both organic and paid, for about 30 days. Cool. That's what most clients can get out of it. That's kind of the main bucket that the vast majority of our clientele fit into, is kind of here's a production that gets you a mass content pool. Yeah. And then the other main bucket that these guys fill into is we've actually developed a pretty cool little model that I think it's unique to what we have opportunity to do with being in golf. We call it our subscription package, where once a week we have a full day on a course. And anybody who's in our subscription can basically request, there's 8 slots available. They can request one of those slots and we shoot videos for them. Yeah, something like a tea time. Yeah. And they can basically say, hey, we want a video. And then we go and basically are crowdsourcing all those subscription guys are crowdsourcing a full day production from us. And they can all get basically a video a week from us, use it on their socials. It's really popular along a lot of the smaller, maybe lower, less, what's what I'm looking for?
Well, you can show up and lower your costs because you're there all day and you don't have to.
Right.
So you're there, so people come in and they can get a better deal. Right. It's worth it.
For easy math, instead of, we're wholesaling it. If it would say the cost was $10,000 for a normal day, well, you could also have 10 people pay $1,000. And so that's kind of what that model looks like. It allows a lot of these smaller brands in golf to get some high quality content and to work with us, whether it's photo or video. And so that's what the two main one kind of fall into. We also have added a lot of the digital marketing stuff. We run some paid ads, SEO, websites, all that kind of fun stuff. But
very cool. So I want to talk about this subscription model.
Please.
I think it's really cool. First, I want to figure out where you got that idea. But
like all good ideas, stole it.
I know, I believe you did. And what we do in this work, that's what we are as creatives. We see what we like and we make it our own. We
steal like an artist. You ever read
Steal like an artist.
That's the way to do it.
Summed it up. So you show up to a course.
Yeah.
And you obviously are putting out the feelers to all your clients. Hey, pick a tee time, show up, and you're going to shoot just anything they want.
So the rule with that one, if you get the custom production, we're going to do your scripting. We're going to do everything. Yeah. With the subscription, you got to tell us what you want. There's kind of some parameters. It has to be between 15 and 30 seconds. Needs to be shot at one location. Talent needs to be.
Do they bring the talent?
We don't. We bring the talent. So we said talents.
They bring the talent.
We do.
You bring the talent.
Yes.
So
we basically tell them we're going to have talent that day.
And they're going to put on your product, your hat,
wear your polo, shirts. They're going to wear your hat, whatever it might be. And then you tell us what the idea you'd want us to do with them are. And so we kind of put it back on them to say, hey, this is what it's going to look like. They can ask. We have add-ons. If they want a script or whatever, they can get a little higher subscription model or whatever. But then what that looks like is every month. Basically, they are part of this custom CRM that we've built, where they're able to see when we're going to be shooting our next one, what slots are available, and then they put in their information. They'll be able to know, what our talent looks like, what all that kind of different stuff is. They'll put it in there, and then within 48 hours, we have the results back to them.
That's cool. We're going to do that. We're going to do it here.
There's having a studio like this. It's very doable.
Oh, for sure.
The entire idea, and I mentioned I stole it, so I should give credit to who I stole it from, is from Design Joy, if you're familiar with that agency. Design Joy is an agency that, it's a one-man agency, runs the whole thing by himself. He does graphic design, and his rule is you can get as many, you can put in as many design requests to him as you want for one monthly fee.
Yeah.
But the rule is he's only going to work on one at a time. So basically he works on that one. When that one's done, he'll go to the next one. So you can fill out as many as you want, just knowing one's going to get done after the other. And I believe his agency does 7 figures.
Yeah.
Just off that model.
My mind is cranking right now.
It's
I'm like,
interesting.
We've done this for brands. Lumio, perfect example, where we hired 6 models. We had 5 stations. And it was for swag, where this one so this is where I'm thinking like there can be many companies, but one company shows up and we shot for like 6 hours, and each model rotated from station to station. And we had a cyc wall station with photo and video. We had a spinning camera station where the camera would spin around them and they'd do their thing. We had the LED wall station. We had something else and something else. But anyway, that's kind of cool. Like it's like this model of like rotating, getting people to come in here, take an hour of your time. Models are already booked. Throw your swag on. You get a shot here with whatever backdrop you want there. Well, I'm going to call this the Dane Carlson.
It's interesting.
Guys, we're doing a Dane day.
Because, and if we're going to do the podcast thing here where we're going to take it up and say, well, here's the big reason behind it, the big brain move of why this idea works is obviously it's cheaper and clients love the cheaper option. But really why it's solving a need is, we just had to stop and kind of think about what is truly the pain point that these guys are trying to solve. And there was a lot of companies that just full on don't need, not that they can't afford it. They first off couldn't afford it, but even if they could afford it, they don't need what our other package was offering.
Right.
And what a lot of videographers packages probably are. Hey, we want to go for the bigger budgets. We want to go for these bigger things, and you want to go, big, bad, and creative. But there's a lot of clients who, even if they could afford it or can afford it, they don't need it.
Right.
And so it's just looking into what is it that their need was. And for a lot of our clients, it was just, I need to keep the social moving.
Yep.
I need to keep it constantly going. And what it's actually done really, really strongly for us is, we talk about clients don't need things. Let's take a Utah company like Bucked Up.
Yeah. Or Bullfit.
Sorry. Let's take a Utah company like Bullfit. We can cut that out, right? Okay, cool.
No, it's actually really better that you said Bucked Up and we changed it.
Oh, okay, great.
We won't be sponsored by Bucked Up at any point now.
So we take a Utah company like Bullfit.
Yeah.
Okay. Where golf is not the demographic necessarily,
right,
but like it's a product you could take on the course.
Of course.
And a video a week or a photo a week on a golf course would be useful.
Yep.
But would they ever need a big production day where I give you 10 golf videos and 150 golf photos?
No.
Never.
Because it's just a small piece of
It's just
business.
a tiny piece of their business. And so what that's actually done is by doing that, I've now opened up the world of a golf marketing agency to non-golf clients.
Yeah.
And so it's been a really, really cool benefit to us, where there's companies like a Cozy Earth down the street.
Yeah.
They sell polos that could be worn on a golf course. Now, do they need to hire a golf agency full time to do all their content? No. But a golf video every once in a while could be beneficial for them.
Right.
And so it's groups like that where it's like it's given us a chance to do a little bit more work in the, outside of our space, maybe open our niche or I shouldn't say open our niche, but open our expertise to people who maybe weren't necessarily within that in the first place.
That's super smart. I love that. And what I love about this even more is that you're kind of getting in, well, not a good example is Cozy Earth. They're not the ground level, but getting in at the ground level with a lot of businesses that can't necessarily afford things, and you're building a relationship.
Totally.
There's a lot of good videographers, but then there's, it's more important to find the videographers that you jam with, and these guys are awesome. I want to work with them again. And that's a good gateway drug into that. It's like, here, just give us $1,000. We've already got all the stuff you need. And then they grow. They'll probably call you back if you're awesome.
Listen, I'll put this into the ether right now. I'm going to look right in this camera. If you need a golf gateway drug, I'll be it. I'll be your gateway drug. I would be happy to. It'd be great. So, yeah. Exactly.
I'll get you started on that good.
Exactly.
I love that. I'm thinking through it. we're gonna seriously do this because I think it's really cool.
You should.
I like the idea of like us hiring a videographer, whether it's one from our team or we actually bring in a DP, and he's here all day. Their day rate, can get paid for easily if you have 10 clients that come in. And cool. I'll send you a message when I get it set up. It's really cool, but it's also
and
really
a royalty check.
Royalties. It's you've heard it here. Hold me to it.
Oh,
the other thing too, I think it's actually a really cool idea for up and coming videographers.
Yes.
To shoot content that doesn't need to be humongous, but it's almost here's another angle. You open it up to videographers that want to use your space. You hire the models, they bring in the client, and they shoot here.
Done.
And they're paying you to use your space.
I love it. I think
expertise, we can also help.
100%. And I think that just comes back to the whole idea of like, this industry it suffers. It's funny that as creative, we call ourselves creatives. Mm-hmm. We're videographers, we're photographers, or whatever. We're creatives. How little creativity sometimes goes into the business side. Yeah. And so it's just opportunities to look beyond, I make video, you give me money, and look for opportunities where you could get a little bit more, like at the time, for example, when we first started doing our retainer package, that, 8 videos, 150 photos, that was something that at least in our industry hadn't really been offered, these kind of larger production days. And like, we were able to kind of undercut a lot of people doing that direction and getting that way to go. And so it's just finding out what is the packaging, the bow on the service you provide that's going to make it most desirable to your intended audience, and hopefully they give you money for it.
Well, even before that is figuring out a problem to solve. Yeah. And you did that. It's like, that's where every good idea should start.
Totally.
Where's the problems? What can I solve with my expertise and my skills? And how do you build a package around that to solve that problem? And so you're doing it. That's freaking cool. That's my favorite part about this podcast is, first, I should say my favorite part is the networking and like getting to know people that I otherwise wouldn't. We talked here, but it's like going deep on all this stuff is so interesting to me. But then the ideas that come from it, just like that. Super cool. Yeah. And then I appreciate you not gatekeeping. I think that's the worst thing in this industry that people can do.
Also,
it's like, let's share.
The beauty of my niche is it's like, if you took this and you made a ton of money doing it with, say for example, with, studio type clients or with fitness clients or whatever niche or whatever you're going to put it in, unless you take it into the golf space, like you're not going to even touch me. And then if you did and you were doing it better, that like,
good for you.
Like it's fine. It's totally fine. And so it's like, I'm totally all right with like sharing, because I've cut out my little corner so far from everybody else that like, I don't think anybody's dumb enough to do it the way I've done it. Yeah. And so like, that's where we're going to be able to kind of live on our own little island. And so like, I'm happy to share our ideas and kind of talk about wherever we can.
Because people can take them and use them in their own niches.
And I hope they do. Yeah. And then again, if somebody does come in golf and do it better than we do, like, awesome.
Good luck. That's the thing. So I was just about to say, like, it's the thing about sharing what you're doing and continuing to do it consistently over a long period of time, the harder it gets. And that's encouraging for people that are willing to keep going. Yeah. It's what Alex Hormozy said. Yep. He said he's like, I love it when I go down a road and people tell me they're going to go down the same road. It's like, awesome, because no one's going to keep up with my work ethic. Totally. And so cool, go do that, but you're going to burn out. You're not going to last. Yeah. And that's exactly how I look at this podcast because, they're hard, man. Like I'm like, okay, this is a cool idea. A lot of people could do this idea, but who's going to keep doing it and who's going to last? And it's almost fun to think about, like, can you be the person that pushes the hardest and comes out the top? Because
there's those
most
statistics.
People won't last.
Yeah, there's those statistics in podcasting, for example. I think it's like 90-something% of podcasts don't make it to episode 3.
Oh, that's so normal.
And it's like, at that point, think about how many make it to 10 or 40. We were talking before this. You're like, oh, we're just at 40. And it's like, congrats.
I know.
You haven't stopped yet.
We're about a year into it.
You look at, I don't know, what's the number one podcast in the world? Like the Rogan, probably?
There's Rogan, and then Chris X, whatever. He just hit 1,000 episodes. I mean, 7 years.
Disgusting. Insane. That sounds like my own personal hell. Insane. But that's what they're saying. Yeah. We beat the other people on work ethic, and we didn't stop when other people would have, and so
and you're still not going to stop.
No.
And then these guys got a good look. Well, Tiffany's not here, of how effing hard it is to create content for a podcast and consistently do it every week.
Yeah.
And so like you with the golf stuff, man, you just continue to push that niche. She'll be that team that PGA is looking at, the big guys are going to get. You just keep going. Totally. Don't stop.
Well, and the main thing is, I've mentioned a couple of stories here, and there's even a lot more that I can mention about, like, there's some massive roadblocks. There's so many different times in the history of this company where we could have and maybe should have stopped.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I was laying in the ICU in a hospital room because of this job.
Yeah.
That, like, I could have stopped.
Right.
But didn't.
Yeah. And that goes back to being creative in business, because you're going to hit those. Don't look at them as failures or roadblocks. It's like, these are opportunities to get creative and figure it out or adjust.
Totally.
So you adjusted your life so you weren't making yourself sick, I'm sure.
Well, that one wasn't sick. That
you got
was
hurt?
Taking a golf ball to the face.
Oh, you got to tell us this story. First of all, what video is it on, if we can pull it up?
So the video doesn't exist, but if you go to my Instagram, my personal, we're going to have to scroll back a little bit, but I can find a photo for you.
You got to tell us this story.
So this is actually really...
Dude, the numbers game of you getting hit in the head with a golf ball is, like, way high. It's going to happen a lot, I imagine.
It was brutal. So what happened was, so we'll scroll down here a little bit. You're going to have to go to, it was 22, so it'll be a little while. Man, I post too much. My apologies.
Don't ever apologize for posting too much. You should.
Okay.
Most people are apologizing for not posting enough.
Go up. We've gone too far. You're going to see one where I'm sitting on some guy's shoulders right there.
Hey.
Click that one in the middle. Okay, now don't scroll over quite yet. We're going to hold on to this. So this shoot, we were with Bad Birdie. This was our first big client that we were lucky enough to receive. Awesome client. Great guys. We love the guys over at Bad Birdie. I don't want any of this to reflect on these guys.
Of course.
But what happened was we were out in Palm Springs at a course called PGA West.
Yeah.
And when we were filming out on this course, basically on the last day of filming, the last hours of filming, one of the guys from the team came over and kind of said, like, hey, we're trying to go through the shot list, see if we'd gotten everything for the weekend. We decided that we needed just a little bit more content of one more set of these polos that we hadn't taken pictures of. So we decided to go and do them. We set up this shot. It was a head-on shot of a guy hitting a driver.
Dude.
Wearing the polo. And the way that the tee box was set up, it's kind of tiered.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes up, little drop off, goes off. So I think to myself, I'm laying in this little...
Dude, you were close.
This little drop off. Oh, I'm dangerous.
I'm thinking you're at the hole.
I'm dangerously close. And so there's this little drop off, and all that's sticking up is my head.
Oh, God.
And then it's covered by half my head's
so funny.
Covered by the camera. So I'm thinking, like,
you're good.
What are the odds?
Yes.
Say 3, 2, 1, swing. Lights out.
You didn't hear the crack of the club.
I didn't get knocked out.
Okay.
I was still awake, and pretty much what happened was I couldn't see anything out of either of my eyes. I was yelling. From what I can remember, I was yelling, I can't see. I think I asked somebody if it had left a scratch, but I was just bleeding from my face.
Really?
And if you scroll to the next picture.
I'm ready for it.
That's my skull.
It hit you right above the eyeball.
So that's where I took the golf ball, was right above my orbital bone.
Did you even move? Did you even have a chance to react?
Oh, no.
It just hit you.
No,
right
I mean, I was incredibly close to that ball. There's no reaction.
You're lucky that wasn't your eye.
I mean, an inch lower and you lose the eye, if not my life.
Explode your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was laying there, PGA West, where this course is located, between where the course was and the hospital was Coachella.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't get me to the hospital, so I was actually life flighted off of the driving range.
Is there more to look
if you
at
keep
here?
scrolling through, I actually don't remember what pictures are here.
There's a few of them.
So that's me.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, should have given a trigger warning on that.
No, I'm
That's
fine.
what I look like.
Anyone else, I apologize.
In the hospital bed, if you keep scrolling through.
What's the cut?
So that was
behind your head, like right here.
So this is the surgical scars. So because of the way that it's set up, if they go in directly right here, you have the chance of pushing fragments into your retina, detaching your retina, losing your vision permanently.
Yeah.
So what they do is they cut you open from ear to ear, and then fold the skin of your face down, and basically scoop out all of the broken bone.
Yeah.
And so this is my photo shortly after getting 50 plus staples taken out of my head.
Oh, so this is the victory.
Yep. So, that's what it looked like all around my head.
My gosh, dude.
So
I'm glad we didn't breeze over that. Put me in the ICU. Cool. Let's move on.
Yeah.
This was like life altering.
This was 2 weeks after quitting my full-time job to go all in on Wedge.
You're kidding.
No.
Talk about a roadblock.
And that could have been a moment to be like, I think we're done. I think we tried this.
Yeah.
But, we kept, working with the client, kept doing different things, and kept being able to kind of survive and both physically and business-wise. But, it was moments like this, what they really taught me was, and, obviously a lot of different things on an emotional, spiritual, physical level, but from a business perspective or kind of a creative perspective, the two biggest things that really helped me here was between just one thing, it was my support system. Mm-hmm. Having the right business partners at this moment, I had Reese, Tanner, and Caden at the time, where the four of us were the business, was what made this all feel like something we could get over. I had one of them who was there on site and prayed over me when I was laying there, with blood coming out of my face, and sat next to me.
Is it coming through your
in
eye?
the ICU?
You were
could
cut.
not tell you.
Oh,
but and that kind of stuff where it's like these different opportunities where they were able to, support me through this, but then also be positive influences in my life were, massively beneficial. You don't in these moments just as much as they were in the good moments, and so. Yeah, that's probably one of the wildest things that's happened to me on the job. Probably the wildest, but
for it to happen so early, because like I said at the beginning, the numbers game you're playing, because you are so involved in one thing that has a golf ball in it that could hit you at any time. But you learned a lot, I'm sure, in that 2 weeks.
Yeah,
first 2 weeks, to not do that again. Poke your head over
invest in some real good business insurance.
Yeah, right.
Oh, hey, foam golf balls exist. Let's buy some of those. Yeah. And, some different things like that. But it was more of just that's when you come to really know, I've got the right business partners.
Yeah.
I've got the right friends. I've got guys I can trust. And that's never a question you got to ask yourself again. And that was really great.
Sheesh. Well, that was a fun story. I apologize that you had to go through that for
I did it for the podcast.
For the podcast, for us, for everyone listening. So then let's talk about where you think you're going to be going.
Yeah.
I think in the next 5 to 10 years, which is going to be interesting because are you still going to be niched in golf? Do you think you're going to expand? Are you going to try different things?
Yeah. I think we are. Wedge as it is, I think will. So kind of the big shift that we've made, we were making this shift a little bit pre-acquisition, but post-acquisition, it's gained a little bit more fire.
Yeah.
Mostly because we've got a better support system financially or some more runway that makes it a little bit more possible. So Wedge Golf Company was originally the company. It is now a subsidiary of something that we call Wedge Ventures. Whereas, when you're in this industry long enough, you work with brands long enough, and if you do it right, you'll start to see a lot of your brands you work with succeed, which is awesome.
Yep.
That's the biggest compliment to your work you can receive. But sometimes those companies you don't always get taken along for the ride of their success.
Yeah.
I've sat across clients in meetings where they've shown me, hey, this campaign you ran for us made us $500,000, and you're like, cool, you paid me $5 or $10,000.
Yeah.
That's that's kind of you kind of feel like you're getting the raw end of the deal, even though again that's a job, that's their business, it is what it is. So what we've began doing is looking for opportunities or relationships where we can bring companies into the agency on a partner level.
Yeah.
And to start have more equity relationships, profit sharing relationships, or even starting companies ourselves.
Yeah.
And putting them into the ecosystem or the funnel or the flywheel, whatever business buzzword you want to use that we've been able to create. So one of those examples is a new app that we just started called Clubhouse. It's a golf app where you can basically, if you're familiar with like a Letterboxd, think of Letterboxd, but instead about movies, it's golf courses.
Cool.
So you can review golf courses, you can log the courses you've played, you can share them with your friends. Like, that's a product that we built ourselves, and we're putting it to the marketing agency as a quote unquote client. And then we're going to try and build that up and then have a new opportunity there.
Love that.
Another opportunity with that is something called Scott Golf. It's a club manufacturer that builds these really high-end luxury golf clubs that we had as a client for a while. And then we saw an opportunity where, hey, if we came in at a larger clip, if we did more with you, we might be able to grow this, and took a deeper relationship in there. And so it's relationships like that we're kind of heading towards, to where Wedge maybe becomes less of just a transactional agency and maybe becomes a incubator of sorts that we can kind of help build brands and then share in the success with them.
Yeah, and hopefully they get bought out or they sell and you get a nice check.
Little return for your time there.
For sure.
You know what it's going to be, but it's fun because there are additional ways to, when we're talking about keep things interesting, keep things exciting, and keep your employees interested and excited, where you're all talking about how, hey, this isn't just, another task on the list. It's something that we're all trying to build together.
Right.
So that's kind of been the newest thing there. It's pretty young for us, but so I wish I had an opportunity where I could tell, and we did this one and it sold for $2 billion. And
that's where season probably 3 will be.
Yes.
3, 4, you'll come back and we'll hear about those.
Something like that. Do our mustache episode.
Yes, 100%. So we're doing something very similar. And in fact, that's what both it is to us.
Oh, great.
I invested, they came in.
Man, so I really offended with my bucked up comment.
100%.
Brutal. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
moving on.
Way too big to care about Bullfit right now, so it's fine. But
right now,
Bullfit's doing great, and that's what we do. Is we gave them a big discount to do their content, do their marketing, because we invest in, we have skin in the game to help them succeed, and looking for that long down the road payout. Did the same thing with Lumio. They went out of business. They went bankrupt. It was a complete waste of it wasn't a waste of my time. It was a big learning experience.
Totally.
We're starting another business that I'm currently working on, but none of these are niche by any means. But the whole cool thing about it, similar to you, is that we have literally all the resources we need to build a business. Yeah. Because anyone that starts a business nowadays, they need to show people what they're doing. A website and content. And so we have that initial, we have all the resources a company needs to get started. And then as you start to build it, you start to bring in the investors or the people that fill the gaps that you don't have. So that's kind of similar to what we're doing, which I think is so cool that you guys are up to it, and being able to niche that into golf and create services as well, right? Which is awesome.
And that's the beauty of the niche, and the benefit of the niche is, we're in a small world. We're in a small little golf space where we know most of the players, we know most of the opportunities, and so because of that, when we do get involved with starting these opportunities, we have a few more levers that we can pull that maybe obviously somebody outside of golf couldn't really pull. And so it's been like you said, a huge learning experience. There's been a lot that we've learned and what does or does not work. There's a couple of other ones that I haven't mentioned that our companies either don't exist or we've mutually decided to maybe not be involved like we were before. And that's the thing with the partnership model is it's one that I wouldn't recommend for everyone. And I definitely wouldn't recommend it for most anyone early. Yeah. Because you really got to know what your strengths are. Yes. You really got to know what it is, the value that you provide that maybe another person couldn't. Yeah. Or, because with that being the case, you look at it normally. I would not charge a client for a video if I did not know I could give them a video. Well, when you go to a partnership model, your promise is growth. Yeah. And you better be able to say that you can do it. And, that we're still learning exactly how it is that we provide that beyond just the previous services we've gained and how we can do it on a larger scale. And it's been a lot of fun to learn. But once you've been able to kind of answer that question, that's when, the upside of the marketing, advertising kind of content world gets a lot higher.
Yeah. And you'll run into equity, all that crap is a carrot, man. And it's like people will offer that for free services or cheaper services, and you're going to get burned. Very rarely do people not. And one of my favorite things that Mark Cuban said is that keep going. Don't stop doing that. You're going to learn, but you only have to be right once. Yeah. And cross my fingers that both is that, because they're doing great. And I've had I had stock in Nomadic, didn't vest because of COVID. Lumio, same situation. Now I'm trying both it and hope it works out. But to your point, don't recommend it for everybody. But at the same time, if you can start to find your strengths to put into those opportunities, take them. So let's wrap up with a little bit of advice that you would give someone that wants to either niche up. I would maybe focus it on niche.
Yeah, of course.
And the power in that.
I think if I was to give any, specific advice on the niche, I'd probably take it back to kind of what I said earlier, is when you have, the opportunity where you're trying to build out a business plan, or you're trying to find out what it is that, maybe is your niche, I think a better word to use might be expertise. Mm-hmm. And, an expertise that's unique, an expertise that you can give that somebody else can't, or at least can't give in the way that you give. And if you can find that, you will find your group. You'll find your people. Yep. Sometimes the word, the use of the word niche might be a little bit overplayed. Totally. And it might become, so many people have given their advice on it so many times that it might become difficult to really know what that means for you. Love that. But if you can say, hey, I'm an expert in this thing. Yeah. And I'm an expert in a way that is unique, and I feel like I bring a strong voice to that somebody else couldn't. No matter what it is, find a way to share that, to give that, and people will want it, people will ask for it. And, you get to a point where you're no longer asking people to take it from you, but people are begging for your time.
So cool. That's a way better way to phrase it. You become an expert in something, which will naturally become a niche.
Totally.
What is his question? So we do this at the end of every podcast now. The previous guest asks you a question.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And you're going to answer it. Okay. And then you're going to
offer a question
for the next guest.
So when have you had to say no in your career, and there were serious big repercussions for you saying no?
Let me say it. Have you ever had to say no in your career? And if so, what were the repercussions of that when you did say no?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to answer this in a little bit of a different way than I think what's kind of
totally fair. Do it your way.
I actually had to say yes.
Okay, I like it.
But it's saying yes in a way that was saying no. Okay. And I'll tell the story and kind of give an example. We had a really, really big client of ours that was a really large part of our business. At the time, I was the only one of our original founding group that had gone full time. We kind of were trying to do it in waves to be responsible with the little bit of funds we had. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to build this business. I'm trying to do everything I can. And then I got a phone call from our biggest client, basically saying, hey, we want to move in-house, which is fine. That's a normal part of the business. Yeah. And we want to offer one of your business partners the job. And that was really tough because, one, from the services level, this guy was our most valuable asset. Yeah. Was very, very talented, incredibly talented individual. And then on top of that was one of my closest friends. Yeah. And we've been building this from day one. It's Wedge to the moon. We believe in all this stuff. It's going to be incredible. And then he asked me and he said, I will not do it unless you give me permission. And so I had this decision to make. Yeah. Do I tell my biggest client, who I know I'm losing, and I know I'm going to be on the back foot already because I don't have all that income that I'm expecting from them, to then also take
your best guy,
my best guy?
Yeah.
And so it was a really interesting kind of situation for me to step back and just say, what's this all about?
Yeah.
We're all in this not to build a business. We're in this to build a better life for ourselves and
right.
for our families. And if I truly am a friend to that guy and I see him as good of a friend as I see he is to me, that's a decision for him and his family and not for me. And so I gave this client the permission, and it ended up happening where the client did go in-house. He did end up going with that client, and his family is now in a way better position than they would even be if they'd stayed with us. Like, they are killing it, crushing it. Could not be happier for them. We still play Call of Duty weekly.
Heck yeah.
And then we are as well. But it was a really hard moment for us where it was like the repercussions of that could have been losing my business. And, you know, I've thought about it before. Was like, would that have been fine?
Yeah.
And if I had, you know, Wedge hadn't continued, but the result of the success for him and his family would have continued, then it would have been a win.
Dude, you're a guy. What a guy. Like, to be able to put your ego aside, you put your pride, maybe the promises that were made, put those aside and be like, what's best for this guy?
Yeah.
And then why should I hold him back from opportunities? Or, yeah, I think you did that's an amazing answer to that question.
And again, it was more of just giving I don't know, it's actually, because now you're going to ask me next what my question is.
Yes, that was.
And it kind of leads into what my question is.
Yes.
For a lot of this is, what I like to ask my buddies, because I'm at this point in my life where when I get together with my friends,
yeah,
the number one thing, a lot of my friends, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, like, we're all young, hungry, chasing careers, chasing what we want to become. And so we're talking about, you know, hey, what's going on with your business? Hey, what's going on with your business? Like, my wife and most of my friends' wives, when we hang out, we'll go to separate rooms because they don't want to hear us talk about entrepreneurship and business for 4 hours.
It's my life.
And so one of the questions I've started really asking myself and my friends when we get together is, what is the number one thing happening in your life right now that has nothing to do with your business?
It's a great question.
Because there's times in my life where I honestly don't know if I could answer it.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that I'm focusing on day in and day out is making the business better, making things go harder. And if I don't stop and think like, hey, you haven't planned a really nice date for your wife in a while, or hey, you're not looking at creative ways to improve around your house, or, you know, the yard work, or this or that, or, you know, family you haven't seen in a while, like, it gets really easy to just get lost in the sauce and lose what this is all about.
Yeah.
You know, and I am not building Wedge, or I'm not here, you know, if you want to say on this earth or on whatever, to make really cool videos. Yeah. I love doing that. I'm glad I do that. I want to do it every single day, but it's not the most important thing. And so the question's always, if I could ask your next guest a question, it would be, what's the biggest thing happening in your life right now that has nothing to do with videography or your job that you're excited about?
That's a great question. That's one of my favorite questions, I think, for sure, because it removes us from what we're talking about. It's like, tell me a little bit, go deeper than what's happening in your career. Well, thank you, Dane.
No problems, man.
This is a filmmaker's journey. This is your guest, Dane Carlson. Thanks for joining us, dude.
No problem.